Hey guys, Shredder John coming after another, well, kind of a Diablo 4 video slash kind of a video where we are actually going to teach and show those of you who are curious about Path of Exile, for example. I'm going to kind of show you, give you a rundown of what it's like to go from D4 to Path of Exile, kind of some of the things that you need to be aware of when trying to go from one game to the other. Also, some other nice add-ons, so to speak, that you're going to want to get for Path of Exile and how to use them, so that way it'll make your transition a little easier and a little bit better. All right, so first things first, you can see here I have Path of Exile pulled up. Now, what did I do going from Diablo 4 to Path of Exile? So there are a few things that are major differences first. So let's talk about really quickly what the differences are and why you may or may not want to go ahead and watch the rest of this video to figure out what else you want to do to prepare to play Path of Exile. So for example, right now you see my character, they're standing here and my hideout is what it's called. In Path, when you come to your waypoints, very similar to Diablo 4, it allows you to go ahead and navigate to different parts. Now, I unfortunately have only made it to Act 2 on the Crucible League. I didn't really play this league because of D4 launch. So I made a quick dummy character, played for a couple hours last night. So that way I could make and record this video for you guys. To prepare for this though, I had to take into a few things into consideration. One, notice on the bottom right-hand side, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items here, right? These are your skills and active skills. And actually, if you, depending on what you use as the secondary for your, for this, you could also go all the way into another whole bar of skills here. Path of Exile does not limit you on the amount of skills that you can actually utilize at the same time, unlike Diablo 4, which you are very locked into those skills. Also on the left-hand side, if I go ahead and I turn off my camera here, because this is going to make the most sense, you can see that there are flasks. You'll see down here in this bottom right, there's a Quicksilver flask, there's a couple mana, there's a couple of large life flasks. Now, generally speaking, this is not what yours is going to look like on your build for when you're playing Path of Exile, but very basic beginner, hey, I'm just starting going. This is pretty common, pretty typical. This also means you're going to have 5 buttons to use your flask. So unlike Diablo 4, where you have 1 button for a potion, you're actually going to have 5 different potions that you can activate in the game. So what does this mean? Or why am I pointing this out? Well, I'm pointing this out because that means there's a lot more buttons to press here than there is on Diablo 4. And for those of you who want to see what that exact comparison is, let's go ahead and pull up Diablo 4 again. And you can see here on D4 that you do have your skills here. So you can only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skills active at the time, right? And unfortunately, there's no way to do a shift and do another skill with Diablo 4. At least not that I've noticed anyways. So these are your limited skills. And notice you only have the 1 potion. You do have dodge and you have teleport and a mount, which is definitely different. Like you don't have that aspect or that concept in Path of Exile. So definitely remember that. You probably will find yourself a lot trying to use the T button or even trying to do a lot of dodges when you're playing. And Path of Exile just does not support that, unfortunately. So that's definitely a key difference. But also, there are a lot of things that go into Path of Exile to get ready to play the build. For example, if I pull up my, let's see here. If I pull up my skill tree, maybe. Let's go to passive tree here. So this is the skill tree for Path of Exile. Notice that there's a lot going on here. This can get very confusing very fast, especially as a new player. If you're someone who just got into Diablo 4 and the ARPG scene, and you're trying to transition into a game like Path of Exile, this in itself is a lot to take in. But it's okay. There are tools out there that are going to help you break it down and digest it to make it a little bit more playable, very similar to Diablo 4. So for example, right now I would have a hard time figuring out, okay, what character to play, where to go. But because everyone has this problem in Path of Exile, there are some tools that people utilize for this. So first and foremost is, let's go ahead and let's pull up one of the tools that you're going to want to use. So it's called Path of Building. Very unique name, right? Path of Exile, Path of Building. Hey, how to build onto this major skill tree and do damage, right? So if you come over here, this is a open source program. It's safe to download. You're going to download it, and when you hit download, it's going to take you to the GitHub. And then I recommend you download the portable one. You can download either one. Either one of these will be fine. This will get updated on Friday for League launch. So don't worry about it, but you definitely want to make sure you're using the community fork of it, right? Don't use, there's another one that you could potentially download if you just search on your own. Make sure you download the community fork because that's the most prevalent out there and will be able to suck in all the builds. So once you have this downloaded and installed, then at that point you can actually utilize it to go ahead and start figuring out how to do this. Now you may be wondering, hey John, how do I utilize this? That doesn't make any sense. I've never heard of it. So how does it work? Well, let's go ahead and let's pop it up here. And okay, so as you can see here, I do have my path to building pulled up now, and you can actually kind of see here if I go ahead and blow it up and move it over so I can look directly at it. This is a already kitted out character. Now notice this looks similar to what I had, but if I come down here, I can actually switch it to say the end game, and at which point we have this whole tree kind of mapped out. You can see exactly what you need to be doing, what nodes to get to. It makes it very simple. Now this is a third-party application, and you will also notice on the left-hand side that there are a bunch of damages and totals, right? So you can also click the skills tree. You can select, okay, what tier that you're going to go to. It'll show you exactly what skills you want to get to on each piece of gear. Same thing with the items. This will actually show you what items you want to get to, and if you want an in-game item, an early game, a mid-game, so on and so forth. But the key takeaway here is it gives you this full breakdown, so you know how to build your character and also what kind of stats you're looking at. It'll also help you because you can actually import your character and put it in the path of building. So as you level up and you keep your character going, you can actually use the path of building after you suck in what you've already used, and it'll tell you where you currently stand damage wise, so you can see if you're on track to hit these numbers or if there's something else that you need to be looking for to improve your build. There's a whole calculation screen which shows a lot of the math and the items and like kind of how to like do some of the tallying and whatnot, as well as there's where you can say, hey, yes, these are my options that are checked, unchecked, so on and so forth. Path of building itself is almost like its own dedicated game. Now, some of you may be wondering, okay, well, this is great, John, but how do I utilize this? So actually, if you download it, it's going to go ahead and it's going to have this over here, right? So this is what it's going to look like, and you're going to click new. And when you click new, it's going to open up a brand new one. Nothing's there. And you're going to hit import. Import, you're going to see there's a few different options. So what you're going to want to do from here is you're going to want to go find a build guide. So to find a build guide, it's pretty simple. There's a lot of content creators already for Path of Exile. Definitely pay attention to which ones you're utilizing. One of my best and favorite go-tos, honestly, is going to be Zizarin. So I'm a massive fan of him. I really enjoy a lot of his builds that he does for us. So let's go ahead and let's go pop over to his YouTube video for Explosive Arrow. That's going to be my league starter. So there's Ziz himself. Go give him a follow. Full credit to him. And I think there was one other creator that helped him with this build. I feel like a dick because I totally forgot his name. I'm so sorry. Skyra. I think it was Skyra. Was that who was the one who co-wrote this one? So sorry, but these guides are very in detail. There's a lot going on in this game. But you'll see here where they have a section in their videos that says Path of Building. Almost every Path of Exile content creator will have this in there for each character that they're running. So that way, if you guys would like to try out their builds, you can, and you can actually suck it in there. So you can see here where he has the download link here and the Path of Building link here. So if we copy that link here and we throw it in the Path of Building, we can then use it and import it. So look, as we put that in there, it says URL is valid. So if you say import and you say import to new build, boom, it's gonna go ahead and it's gonna find it all for you, and it's gonna put it together exactly how we had it. From there, you are kind of good to go. So definitely keep an eye out for your content creators in Path of Exile to go find other builds. Unfortunately, I'm not as good at Path of Exile to really come up with my own builds yet. Even though I've been playing for years and years and years, I always just use someone else's build guide, unfortunately. But they do a great job of it. They explain a lot of things. There's going to be notes in every single one of these. Definitely pay attention to it. That's going to kind of cover the first thing that you're going to want to do with Path of Exile. Now, the second thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download something called Filterblade. And it's not necessarily, I guess I shouldn't say you want to download it. You can go to the website, and I recommend just doing it that way. That's how I utilize it myself. You'll see at the top here, you can go ahead and you can log into Filterblade. And once you log in there, it sucks in your Path of Exile information. And this is going to be key, so that way you can go ahead and apply loot filters. So in Diablo 4, unfortunately, there are no loot filters. You don't get to filter what you see on the ground and what you don't see on the ground. So you're kind of stuck picking up every yellow or legendary item in Diablo 4 and then inspecting it, figuring out if it's good, if it's bad, so on and so forth. Well, in Path of Exile, they kind of have allowed third parties to create these filters, so to speak, that then will give you certain noises, color coding, also hide loot that you don't necessarily want to see, or that's maybe bad for, say, your build. So if you come over to this website, you can see where I have a couple of them that are already loaded in here from other seasons. I usually just keep the same one, update it, call it good. But you can actually see where you can come over here, you can customize it. You can say, okay, is it hardcore, is it not? There's different aspects of it. Like, yes, I want to do normal, I want to do Lunaris. These are your styles. These are what's going to look like on the actual screen as you're playing. And this is just a preview of what it's going to look like when you drop certain items in the game. From there, you can go ahead and you can keep further customizing it if you really want to. You can simulate what it's going to look like on certain drops, what it's going to sound like, because you can change the sounds as well as even just text style, right? There's a lot of options here for your loot filter. But last but not least is once you're happy with whatever you have set up in your Filterblade, I definitely recommend if you are a Diablo 4 player checking out D4, don't mess with anything. Just come right over to overview and start off with soft. As soon as you start playing Path of Exile, once you hit Act 5, go up to like regular. Once you hit maps at right after Act 10, then you want to go up to semi-strict, and you'll probably stay there the rest of the league because this is your first league potentially. At that point, you come over here to save export, and you say you can either save it and sync it to your Path of Exile account, or you can save it and download it and then put it in a folder and then load it into Path of Exile. Either way works totally fine. I prefer to use save and sync because I don't like to have a bunch of third-party stuff on my computer. I would prefer anything that can just be digitally synced or backed up to do it that way. So for myself, I do the save and sync method, and essentially as soon as I hit save and sync here, it's going to upload it to POE. Just like that, it says it's done, and then it tells you in POE open options, game tab, select your filter, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and let's do that, and I'll show you how that works. So if I go back to Path of Exile and I go ahead and escape out of this menu, if I hit escape options, and if I go to the game, you can see here I have all of my different filters. These will match up with what I put on the other side, and if I select one, it'll automatically apply that loot filter. So now, as I'm moving forward in the game, I will see different items drop. Now, if you are someone who you applied this filter and you think you're not getting any drops, if you hit the Z button, it will actually show you all items in the area. Or if you hit Alt, I think it does it temporarily, like toggles it on and off type deal. So you may want to play with Alt or Z if you are not seeing gear at all. Eventually you'll figure it out, and then that way the loot filter will just work, and it'll be easier to go ahead and progress. Also, unfortunately, Path of Exile, it does not support WASD. It does have controller support, and to do that, you're going to want to go ahead and go into options, and you're going to want to change the import here from the character screen. So if we actually go out of here and we say exit to character selection, we can then go ahead and open our options now and see that I can now change this to controller, and that's how you're going to change it from controller to keyboard. So definitely keep that in mind if you are someone who plays Diablo 4 and you want to play Path of Exile with controller. This is how you're going to do that. It's going to be the easiest way for you to do so. And then from there, also pay attention to some of your settings here. I have a 4090, so I don't really have to worry about this as much, but sometimes the graphics can be a little high resource utilization in Path of Exile compared to Diablo 4, I have noticed, unfortunately. So that's going to kind of wrap it up for the very beginner introduction of how do you play Path of Exile. What are a few things that you want to do to get ready for it? Also, take your time, guys. Path of Exile is a very robust game. If I go ahead and log into a standard league character here, this would be a totally different character than what you just saw. And if I go over here and I teleport here, you can notice that I have skills that dash me around. I've got a banner. This is my hideout where we're going to do mapping and stuff like that. Notice that the cosmetics are all here. There's a crap ton of cosmetics that I can apply. I can make my character look like anything that I want if I just apply it. You can see there transmog, boom, boom. These are all paid things. You don't have to do these to play Path of Exile. Path of Exile is 100% free, and there are no possible ways to buy boosts on here without using a third-party website that will get you banned, no different than Diablo 4. But yeah, easy to go. Other thing to just kind of be aware of is just go slow. This game is a lot more in depth and a lot more robust, so to speak, than Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is amazing for casual players. Path of Exile is maybe not the most amazing for casual players, but I will definitely try to do my best to bridge that gap between the two games, because myself, I'm super excited that I get to play both and cover both. And honestly, we may even get some Last Epoch in there when their next season launches as well. That way we can really get the trifecta, in my opinion, of some of the best ARPG games out there. If this video helped you with trying to transfer over from D4 to Path of Exile, please leave a comment below. Give me some sort of feedback. If I need to make more videos like this, if I need to make a dedicated video on Path of Building, Filterblade, whatever the case may be, let me know. I'll definitely try to do my best to help everyone out. But my goal here was to kind of give you some basic tools that are going to help you go from Diablo 4 to Path of Exile very easily. That's my goal, is to make it to where you can play both games and keep it nice and fun and interesting. And I will do videos on both that will kind of give you more perspective on what you could be doing on your end to make it a little bit better for you as well. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.